I want to talk to Olivier Guita now, who joins me here in London. Just a brutal attack that, as we learn more about it, seems almost impossible for either the intelligence or the police to have stopped.
You are totally correct. And I would put to you that actually this attack will have a much stronger impact, if you will, on the French population in terms of fear factor and psyche than the other attacks in Paris, for instance. Because attacking a semi-rural church near Rouen means that nobody is safe, and that's really what Islamic State wants to inflict, is the fear factor. And we saw during Nice, people were saying, oh, we didn't expect something to happen in Nice because everything happens in Paris. In this case, this attack goes another level down, if you will, in terms of little towns. So I think it will be dramatic when it comes to people everyday's life, and people will have to remember this.
Because when we look at the attack, it was two knifemen who went into a very rural French church. How would you have possibly been able to stop that? Because usually we see them these attackers trying to buy weapons online, but if you just pick up a knife in the kitchen and go in and attack, it's very difficult for your intelligence community to hear those people if you're relying on your counterintelligence, electronic counterintelligence. It's very difficult to pick that sort of thing up, isn't it?
Indeed, and that's why, Islamic State was unfortunately very smart through its spokesman Al-Adnani as early as September 2014, telling their followers in the West to use any kind of weapons, including knives and including cars, to attack infidels in the West. So it's exactly the point you're making.
So we hear ISIL again and again and again. We saw Hollande after Nice say that they were going to send more artillery into Iraq. Is the answer to all of these problems eliminating ISIL?
The problem is that, as we've seen in those attacks, it's much more of a homegrown issue than an external issue. What France has tried to do in terms of military campaign after the November attack was to specifically target the training camps where French jihadists are. And you have to remember that, as of now, French is the second most spoken language within Islamic State fighters. So there's a huge community of Frenchmen. Also, 2 Frenchmen are on the board, if you will, of Islamic State. So if they have to decide which country to attack when it comes to external operation, they will point to France.
So if France removed themselves from that coalition that's fighting IS in Syria and in Iraq, do you think we would see these attacks stopping?
No. Unfortunately, because the reason is that Islamic State, compared to Al-Qaeda, had a very smart business plan, if you will, of deciding that they would not coordinate all attacks. They would not need spectacular attacks like Madrid or London or the World Trade Center. They would have soldiers, quote unquote, attack low, sophisticated targets all the time, rather than once a year or once every 5 years.
Okay, so we say it was difficult for this attack to come up on the radar, but we're seeing reports in the French media that this individual was electronically tagged and was on the French terror list. How did this happen?
That will have to be reviewed. I mean, that's one of the things that, in terms of numbers, they have to make choices. I mean, look, if you see what's happened in January 2015 with the 2 Kouachi brothers behind the Charlie Hebdo attack, they were surveilled for 2.5 years. And then just a few months before Charlie Hebdo, they stopped surveillance because nothing happened. So security services have, unfortunately, sometimes to work on a hunch, and they have to decide which individual to follow or not follow. So in terms of number, it could be 1% or 5% that they can follow. So they have to rely on their knowledge, but also, unfortunately, on pure sheer luck.
Okay, Olivier Guita, thank you for your expertise. Olivier is an international security expert, and we will continue bringing you the latest from Normandy right here on Sky News.